How is it going to run? Time here to review Omega Man, a wrestling love story. Of course, this was the Canadian exclusive documentary on Kenny Omega that aired part of TSN's Engraved on a Nation documentary series. But yeah, this documentary that's been highly anticipated for a while now. I remember originally this was supposed to be an HBO exclusive in Canada, I believe, and then it somehow got changed into being a TSN exclusive instead. But regardless, it was able to air in Canada. It was about a 50-minute documentary, so it was, about an hour long. And of course, I'm here to give you guys my thoughts and review on it. So that way, seeing more time, go ahead and jump right into the video with my real thoughts on the documentary itself. I thought it was very well put together. I thought it did a tremendous job, in terms of just the editing and just the music as well. I feel like the music really complemented the documentary. In it, they interviewed a handful of people, not many people at all. Of course, Kenny Omega himself was interviewed. Chris Jericho was a part of it. Don Callis, Dave Meltzer, of course. I believe the director of the film, the promoter of DDT, which of course is the infamous promotion Omega wrestled for a long time in Japan, was even interviewed for it. He had some fans interviewed as well. So it was really just a handful of key people. There wasn't really a whole lot of people interviewed for this. Even Kenny Omega's parents made a brief appearance. I think they were only interviewed like once, and you didn't see them again after that. But I just thought, in terms of the editing, the music, the people that interviewed, I just thought it was very, very well done, put together, and definitely was a great piece that aired on TSN. In terms of the documentary, basically it covered everything from when Kenny Omega got into wrestling, and they didn't really go into detail about things. Basically this documentary really was revolved around the relationship between him and Kota Ibushi. Hence the wrestling love story title. Even though it's called Omega Man, it's really more about the Golden Lovers in general, not just Kenny Omega as himself. So you do get a big portion of this documentary is based off that, which is, like I said, part of the title. So that's what to expect. But basically, one thing I really love about this documentary was the opening of it. They put Kenny Omega over tremendously well, especially Jericho. He pretty much proclaimed that, if Elvis was alive today and a wrestler, he'd be Kenny Omega, which I'm not sure I'd go that far. Kenny Omega's amazing, but I don't know if I'd call him Elvis in terms of like just popularity and whatnot. But he definitely is an artist in his way, and they just put him over tremendously well. And I believe that the way they explained pro wrestling in general was so well said. I could not have said it any better myself. The way they explained the art of professional wrestling, because like I said, I thought they all did a tremendous job and really explained it very well. But basically, showed him being a wrestling fan as a kid, talked about him getting into wrestling, him signing with WWE very, very quickly, and then he learned, early on in his WWE career that just was not for him. A guy his size just was not what they're looking for and wasn't working at the time. Even on commentary, the match he had with Heath Slater, commentators were just burying Kenny Omega, for whatever reason. So he just very early on discovered that this was not for him, at least WWE was not for him, and then he left. And then, he had a match with AJ Styles in the summer of 2006, and which is pretty ironic because after the match, Kenny Omega said that he's proud of two things happened. One, he got one over on AJ Styles because he beat him, I guess. And then second thing was the fact that Kenny Omega left that crappy promotion WWE, which is funny because nowadays, 2019, AJ Styles works for WWE. I'm pretty sure he wanted Kenny Omega to sign with them, so it's the irony of that was pretty funny. But yeah, I talked about that match with AJ, and then of course, we talked about him getting into DDT, the promotion in Japan, which, he was like, what? WWE wasn't for me, but maybe it was made for Japan. And just the way the DDT promotion was kind of like a funny, comedic, wrestling promotion. He thought he fit perfectly well into that. And of course, they showed him, they aired his tryout video for it, the one he sent in, and it was just absolutely hilarious, the amount of crazy shit he was doing to, get into DDT. And he was just, he just loved it. He thought it was fun. And, even the match, talked about the match with the little girl that he had, the infamous match. So that was a big thing, and they definitely covered him working DDT, and of course they worked up to him meeting and facing Kota Ibushi, which that match they had, that first match, that looked absolutely fucking insane. I want to watch that match. I'm not sure if it's available anywhere, but I definitely want to check the match out. It looked absolutely insane, and he put over Kota Ibushi very, very strongly. He basically said that him and Kota are pretty much the same exact person, just different, names and faces. Their worth ethic is the exact same. Their moveset's pretty same. They're in sync no matter what they do, which makes them a great tag team. So that match they had really, in their heads, like, what, if we can work together, go against each other, how can we work together? And that's how the Golden Lovers came about. Even though at first, they didn't even have a tag team name. They were just, Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega, and then I guess in an interview they were just proclaimed as the Golden Twins, and then they're like, no, we're not the Golden Twins, we're the Golden Lovers, and that's the storyline they went with, and in the documentary they never covered the basis of their sexuality. They never covered that if they were an actual thing or not, or if either of them are gay or bisexual. They never covered that, even though it's implied, but they never openly went out and said the situation to two of them. They pretty much just said that they're really close friends, and that's all they really got out of it, which is fine. They don't owe us any explanation as to what kind of relationship they have. But yeah, it talks about their Golden Lover days and just them becoming a tremendous tag team, you know, winning multiple tag team championships. And then of course, you know, it came down to Kota Ibushi having more success, you know, especially when he branched out to New Japan Pro Wrestling, you know, getting his opportunities against like Shinsuke Nakamura at Wrestle Kingdom for the Intercontinental Championship. He just started becoming a bigger star, and that kind of sparked a jealousy in Kenny. And then of course, once Kenny joined the Bullet Club, went over to New Japan as well, you know, Japan takes their kayfabe very seriously. So when Kenny Omega turned heel, Kota Ibushi was still a face. They were not allowed to be seen in public whatsoever, just because, you know, the mentality in Japan is kind of like the mentality in wrestling back in the day. If you're a heel, you had to be a dick in public, you had to do this, you couldn't be seen with any faces, you couldn't share the same locker room. Kayfabe is very alive and well in Japan, and it was very, very seriously implemented. So, you know, for a while, Kenny lost touch with Kota just because, you know, they just could not be seen together or really talk to each other because of the way their careers were going. And of course, you know, Kenny started having, you know, a tremendous career once he started joining the Bullet Club. I really liked the, you know, how they worked in the match too with AJ Styles and Kota Ibushi, that, you know, Kenny Omega cost Ibushi that match, and just the face of Kenny was really, really telling. And you know, a lot of Kenny's success afterwards he wasn't able to achieve higher success because of the split. And I love the story because him challenging for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship against Okada, but he was not able to beat Okada for that championship until they were reunited. Of course, they covered, you know, Ibushi and Omega reuniting slowly. It took months and months and months, but they finally did it. You know, once Bullet Club turned on Kenny Omega, he was able to finally fully reunite the Golden Lovers. And of course, they showed the match of him and Okada from Dominion last year, where he won the championship. And of course, you know, Kenny Omega won the championship once he was reunited with Kota Ibushi. So the fact that, you know, they played that heavily implemented into the story was the fact that, you know, Kenny was not able to win the championship on his own, but once he finally got Kota back, he finally got that piece of him missing back, and he was whole again, and he was able to fully beat Kenny Omega once again. And that's what, you know, drove him to finally beat Okada for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. And that's pretty much how the documentary ended. It pretty much ended with him winning the championship, and then you know, running the credits saying, you know, thanks to all these people and whatnot for you know, for producing this documentary. And that's pretty much what it was. You know, like I said, it started off from him getting into wrestling, going to WWE, quitting WWE, going to DPT, teaming up with Kota Ibushi, going to New Japan, joining the Bullet Club, and then of course, you know, Golden Lovers reuniting, and him of course winning the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. So that's pretty much the documentary. I thought it was great. You know, like I said, even though it's more mainly focused on the Golden Lovers as a whole, it still is about Kenny Omega. Like I said, you know, the reuniting of the Golden Lovers was what drove Kenny Omega to win the championship back. And you know, it just really showed how much of an effect Ibushi had on Omega in his career. You know, even not just in their personal lives, but in the career aspects as well. Those two are just joined at the hip, and you know, they're great together. I mean, they're great separately, but together they're just invincible and unstoppable. So I really like that they were able to really tell that story of, you know, how much they mean to each other and how, you know, well they do when they're reunited together, not just on their own. So I thought it was a great documentary. You know, I wouldn't call it a perfect 10 out of 10. I think there definitely was more of the story to be told. You definitely could have went a lot more in depth and definitely told more of a story, but I feel like what we did in this documentary definitely was great. I would definitely be open to either more documentaries like this, or just, you know, a sequel to Kenny Omega, and possibly maybe just a whole documentary on, you know, maybe Kota Ibushi, or maybe a whole documentary on the Golden Lovers as a whole. I don't know, but I definitely thought it was great. I would definitely recommend everyone checking it out if you can. Like I said, that was a great documentary. Highly recommend everyone checking it out. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, please feel free to leave a like below. And of course, the next time, I'll see you guys later. Thank you guys for watching the video.